hello everybody. Welcome to the latest episode of Sticky Bleachers, a podcast. I'm Bobby here with you today.
And I am Corey, fresh off of an exciting doubleheader matchup of the Irish Gaelic sports that I was attending this weekend at the headquarters of the Gaelic sports in Ireland, Dublin's Croke Park. It was great, Bob.
It was hurling, and what was the other sport?
It's hurling and Gaelic football, and the teams from Cork were in town. Now, this was both of the men's county teams, so it was County Dublin versus County Cork, the men's side of both sports. There are women's sport versions of both sports. The hurling was first, and Dublin just spanked Cork right out of the field at a score of 4 goals, 21 points to 2 goals, 17 points. That's how they give the score. So the scoreline actually reads 4-21, Cork 2-17. That's how they give the scores.
Different point values for a score?
Yes. So the goals are worth 3 and the individual points are worth 1. So when it says Dublin 4-21, it's really 12 points from the goals and then 21 points from the individual points. So it was 33 to Cork's 217, so 23. 33 to 23, if I did my math correctly. So you have to do some math when you're watching Gaelic sports. So imagine if American football gave a scoreline in, here's the number of touchdowns, and here's the number of field goals that have been scored, and you have to go like, okay, so it's that times 6 plus this times 3. Yeah, now if you're watching it on TV, once it gets close to the end of the game in about the last 5 or 10 minutes or so, the scoreline will show the total in parentheses underneath it. And actually, in the stadium scoreboard, you can see that too, but it's kind of hard to find in the stadium. You have to be watching carefully. But the official scoreline always reads like that. And then in Gaelic football, which the score is similar to that in hurling, Dublin beat Cork 2-14 to 2-10. So the math is a little bit easier to do. But Dublin came back and win that one. Cork was spanking them in the first half, just driving it point after point. They got a couple of goals, and then in the second half, Dublin swarmed back and took both of the games of the doubleheader in hurling and Gaelic football. We're going to talk a lot more about those sports on our Friday edition this week, because that'll be our official St. Patrick's Day episode, Bob.
You got to say it in the accent.
No, I refuse, because anyone who is an Irish friend of mine listening will be very, very angry at me if I try a Hollywood Irish St. Patrick's Day accent. Maybe we can do a quiz on Irish accents. I can play you clips of authentic Irish people from different parts of the country. I won't.
Well, I'm only going to respond in my Hollywood accent. So.
All right. Well, I'll let you boil yourself in that pot, Bob.
Oh, there you go.
So, what were you watching over the weekend?
Actually, funny you say so. I was playing a show with my band at a biker bar around the area, and normally these biker bars, they play like NASCAR or football or some type of sport that's going on. And but as we showed up on Sunday evening to play, there was a rugby match going on. So they were sitting around watching rugby. So I thought of you, and I was like, oh, well, I know a little bit more about rugby than I ever did. And
do you remember
it was
which
odd to
teams
see
it was?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Didn't pay too much attention to that, but I did notice it was on, and it was. I don't know if anyone was paying attention to it. I think they were, because it was on. I mean, it wasn't like an infomercial or anything. So,
glad you had to confirm that it wasn't just here's what rugby looks like.
Here's what rugby looks like.
This is what the hooker does.
Mm-hmm. I was looking out, but played that show, and then watched some college basketball on Saturday, and a lot of good matchups and stuff going on. I believe we made some picks and stuff for those games. We can recap those games if you'd like.
Let's run them down.
All right. So first one we had up was West Virginia at Baylor. And Corey, who'd you go with in this one?
I went with the Baylor Bears, as did you, Bob.
I did, and sadly they did not pull out the victory at home. Number 10, West Virginia, pulled out the victory 68-58. I've been doubting West Virginia kind of all year long now, but they look pretty legit. So we'll see how they go with the conference playoffs. But that was an impressive win. Wasn't very close at all. And then the next game we had up was number 21, Iowa State at number 1, Kansas. Now, Corey, you and I both went with Kansas on this one.
That is correct, Bob.
And Kansas, they took Iowa State's punch a couple times, but they really responded well and played a solid game. And I'd be scared to face Kansas in either the conference playoffs or the big tourney.
Yeah.
So looking like a true number one.
So Dan on that one, I remember, said that he picked Iowa State and thought that the woes of number one teams playing teams from Iowa was going to continue. Although I think the flaw in his logic was they've all lost in the state of Iowa.
Yes.
So
it was close.
It was close. So his logic was pretty sound, but just that one little nick, I think, caused the loss for poor Dan. That's okay. He's 1-1, as are we.
Yes, exactly. And then we had we had number 11 Louisville at number 4 Virginia, and Virginia just spanked them. 68-46. So Virginia's got a great defense. Again, another team that's going to be scary come tournament time. We'll see how far they go. I know I've picked Virginia to go very far in past March Madnesses, and they've broken my heart. So that stuff kind of leaves a sour taste in your mouth and sticks with you a little bit. But I'm trying not to let it affect my picking ability. But and then we had number 8 UNC at number 17 Duke. Apparently, this is a rivalry that people know about. It's pretty popular. Have you heard of it before, Corey?
Yeah, as a longtime tobacco user, yes, I'm very familiar.
Yes.
I'm not really a tobacco user. You shouldn't use tobacco.
They can tell by your crisp, smooth voice.
Oh, yes.
You don't talk like this, so you're fine.
Lunch Lady Doris on my side.
UNC pulled out the victory 76-72 over Duke. Duke hung in there quite a bit. Definitely making the Tar Heels sweat there at the end. So, and then the last game that we had was number 16 Iowa at Michigan. Iowa needing a victory to just right the ship a little bit going into the conference playoffs here.
Yeah, my gosh.
Which they did. They did. They had a 71-68 or 61 point victory over the Wolverines, and sending them into the conference playoffs at least on an uptick a little bit. So I went 3-2, Corey. What was your record after everything was said and done?
Looks like I went 1, 2, 3, 4. 4-1, I think, is my record.
4-1.
Yeah,
nicely done.
I had North Carolina.
You went with
Kansas.
UNC.
Oh no, sorry. No, I think I'm tied with you, Bob. I didn't know you were going to ask me to do complex math.
Well, we were just talking about Gaelic football and math.
I know. So. Yeah, we were talking. I know. Jeez. I'm not ready to do my picks. It's mostly my cryptic scrawling that I do on my official podcast legal pad here.
For those of you who don't know, Corey has wonderful handwriting, and it's completely legible all the time.
I believe Bob one time looked at my writing something down. I think I wrote the word psychology, and he pointed to the first letter of psychology and said, "Tell me that's an A. Please tell me that that's an A."
I was hoping that you couldn't spell psychology. I thought
that's.
I'd rather you think that it starts with an A than you try to pass that off as a P.
Then make a P that much deformed. Yeah, that was.
We'll see if we can get an example to show everybody and get a still picture.
Maybe we'll put that on the Twitter account. I haven't forgotten about that, Bob. Also, this weekend, reason for the Irish people to be a little bit upset was Ireland's own, actually Dublin's own. He's from a neighborhood not too far from my neighborhood in Dublin. Conor McGregor lost by submission to Nate Diaz on that one. Nate Diaz was a step in, I think only a week or two before the match.
Yes, an injury replacement, I believe.
Yes, and then there was a weight adjustment where Conor was trying to get up a weight class to match Nate Diaz, and there was some weight class questions as both men were adjusting on that. And I guess Conor McGregor, who normally dominates on the tiny men in MMA, when I see something like 145, I know they could kill me by looking at me, but that's a pretty small guy. I can't imagine seeing one of those guys
Scrappy.
in person. They call him Scrappy, yeah. So he did, it wasn't upset. He did lose. Now, he was called, I'm going to see what your thoughts on this, Bob.
Okay.
A fellow MMA fighter, Rafael Dos Anjos, said to Conor McGregor, who tapped out, he lost by submission, said, "You shouldn't have tapped out, and you should, quote, be a man." Now, did you watch the submission that he tapped out on, Bob?
I did not. I'm not a huge fan of the UFC stuff. It's cringeworthy in my book, but
yes, I
but
watched
I
the
believe
highlights.
what was it? Was it what kind of submission was it?
I watched the highlights of the match. So early in the fight, Conor gave Diaz a cut above his eye.
Yeah.
So there was blood all over the octagon, all over the ring. There was blood, and the other guy's face was bloody. So it just was
a damn match.
It was. It was like Cactus Jack and the safety pins or the thumbtacks on the
It
ring.
was mankind and thumbtacks, Corey. Jeez Louise.
All right. Anyway, there was blood all over the ring. It was just the same kind of brutal fighting that I think, like you, Bob, it's just tough for me to watch because it's just so brutal. But Connor did get down on his belly, and Nate Diaz just got behind him, got his head in the elbow, and just pulled the head up off the ring. Now, I've never
popping the dandelion.
Yeah, thankfully, I have never been put into a submission move by a professional wrestler or by an MMA fighter. So I've never been in a stage submission or a real one, but I can tell you that if tapping out of that makes you not a man, there cannot be very many men in this world, Bob.
No. I mean, if that's the bar for being a man, then
I mean, like getting the equivalent of a camel clutch, except it's not a staged camel clutch. It's like your head is being pulled back off of the mat by a large man. Well, 170 pounds, I think they were going up to. So.
On that note, I was working at a casino once running Spotlight for the little like theater and stuff that they had, and they bring in low level MMA fights and stuff, and so they'd have a big turnout of like local fighters and stuff. And I remember it was the first exposure that I ever had to MMA fighting, and I had to run the Spotlight, so I had to keep the light on the guys like when they came into the ring and everything, and then had to watch the match. And the first match, this guy was just kicking the crap out of the other guy, and then last minute, the guy who was getting the crap kick out of him quickly turned it all around and got the guy into like an arm bar, I believe is what they call it, where they take the arm and they essentially just like wrench it between their legs.
Isn't that also a WWE move?
Yeah, but they really did it this time, and
right. No,
just
I know.
flat out broke his arm. And the match was over. It's like he had to submit because the guy broke his arm. It was like, oh man, I can't get through this, man. That's tough. That's tough.
But also on that same event on the women's side, Misha Tate upset Holly Holm, and Holly Holm is the one who upset Ronda Rousey in her last bout. So that was another upset. Seems
like it's tough to keep your spotlight or keep your star, in MMA.
It's got to be just so hard on your body. Gosh, Mike.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's tough. But user Jeffrey from Yahoo, back to the Conor McGregor comment. He says RDJ. I think if you'd like that because that's a little WWE right there. RDJ has been submitted twice and KTFO twice. So that's Rafael dos Anjos. I assume that's who he's talking about. The one who has been saying, "Hey, you shouldn't have tapped out. Be a man."
Yeah.
He's been submitted twice and KTFO twice. Now, I don't know if KTFO is a technical term. I assume it means knocked the F out. That's not just KO, but KTFO.
Yeah. There's a difference, apparently. I think you get more points for KTFO.
So it is a technical term in UFC. We got to call Dana White and get him on here so he can explain the difference between a TKO, a KO, and a KTFO.
We're working with his manager right now, so we should be.
Yeah.
He should be on the episode a couple weeks from now.
And isn't there a wrestler named RDJ?
RVD.
RVD. Oh, RVD. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I knew where you were heading. So.
Okay. Well, because I was like RDJ is like I think that there's also a guy named Double J, right?
Oh yeah. Yep.
And a guy named Triple H. See, there's lots of letters in this world of fighting.
There is. Well, much like where you need to use math for Gaelic football, you need to have letters in professional wrestling because too many together.
Yeah, if that relied on me to hand write those letters, I'd be in big trouble.
Man.
If
it might be RDG.
It might be RDG. RVD might look like RDJ.
Yeah. Just remember, he had the fun RVD chant.
Okay. Good. All right. Oh, that's right. And he pointed to himself. That's very good. Another big announcement from this Monday, Bob. To the surprise of nobody, Peyton Manning says
RG3 was cut.
RG3 was cut. Yeah, that's right. There we go. That's true. He was just cut.
Yes.
But Peyton Manning says he's going to hang up the Papa John's pizza boxes for now, at least, and go on to his next new job. So
does that mean he has to hang up the Papa John's pizza boxes? I think he can still. Joe Montana can still do it.
Well, no,
he'll just put on some cargo pants.
He just can't do it at the post game press conference. He can't hug Papa John after the games now. Or if he does, it's going to have to be a little more than weirder. Hugging. Yeah, it's going to be a little weirder. It's going to be behind closed doors probably if they're hugging after games. But yeah, I don't know if he's going to hang around the state of Colorado, but he's calling it a career. And now there's questions as to who his successor will be because Brock Osweiler could be entering free agency, and he's untested. played on a team with a lot of good players around him. Not sure what he's worth. On Yahoo, I want to know what you think about this, Bob. User Mary, just Mary, says
Hmm.
Rotzweiler
Ooh,
benefited
how
from being
quickly
on a
they
very good
turn.
team. I know, and she says I wouldn't give him anything. Whew, Mary.
Well, lucky he plays in the NFL. That's pretty close to what he's going to get. So,
Yeah, I guess a few other NFL players, Bob, did chime in on Peyton Manning hanging it up. Would you like to hear some of their thoughts?
absolutely.
Patrick Peterson, who is at
Yes.
RealPeterson21, says only Peyton can pull off a Forrest Gump quote during a press conference. LOL, hashtag GOAT, hashtag classic. Now, I assume hashtag
Well,
GOAT, he means greatest of all time, not he's calling him a goat like the. Uh,
yes. What was
another,
the Forrest Gump quote that Peyton used?
I'm not sure, but I assume that because he's got that folksy Southern accent, that almost anything out of Peyton Manning's mouth could be attributed to Forrest
Yeah.
Gump because he just has good down home wisdom.
I bet he pulled out the box of chocolates quote.
He could have. He could have. I do know that he ended his press conference with the word Omaha. But another response from the NFL. This one you might know, Bob. Mr. D. Ware himself, who is at Demarcus Ware, says, and I just love this one. P Money. It was much better beside you than against you, bro. Humbly honored. Hashtag world champion. Hashtag Manning Monday. Hashtag sheriff. And I read that one just so that I could have a chance to say P Money, unironically.
P Money. Exactly. P Money. Which was Gary Payton's nickname long ago.
Yeah, well,
P Money.
it's been out of the loop
It,
long enough. It's out of
it
retirement, and
just
now
has
we
to
have
be
a
with
new
a
P
Peyton
Money. Yeah,
of some sort.
that works. That works. Spelling, yeah, not so much. So we'll
Not
have
not in 2016. You don't need to know how to spell in 2016.
yes, and I imagine we'll talk more about Peyton's career. There's a lot to digest there on the longer version of this podcast
There
someday. Another announcement coming out just this Monday. Maria Sharapova made an announcement over the weekend that she was going to make an announcement on Monday, and she did make that announcement. I think it was late Monday night or early Tuesday morning from Australia because time doesn't exist in Australia.
No.
Where she has tested positive for a banned substance. Now, the substance is named meldonium. Meldonium or meldonium is the name of the substance. And it is a new addition to the World Tennis Association's banned list. So
Okay.
she has been using this drug, she claims, to treat a medical condition that she has for the last several years. I believe she's had 10 years. But just as of this year, that was added to the list of banned substances. She claims that she didn't check that updated list. We've seen this happen with
Kick her out.
athletes before where
Kick her out.
they're using a drug or a medication that gets added to the list, and then they claim
Yes.
that they didn't see that it got added. I don't know if I
Manny
buy that
Ramirez.
one because I think that people have a lot of folks working for them to make sure that they are on the straight and narrow. But this drug, a lot of people are asking, Bob, and you mentioned before the podcast. Here is what the drug does and why
Okay.
it's been added to the banned substance. So, according to the World Anti-Doping Agency, that is the WADA. Meldonium acts as a metabolic modulator. It improves sports performance by stopping the mitochondria from being overloaded by fatty acids breakdown during intense exercise, and instead it shifts the focus towards breaking down carbohydrates, which requires less oxygen to be taken away from the muscles. So by
Interesting.
reducing the workload of the mitochondria, this drug reduces the amount of urea and lactate into the bloodstream and allows for
Okay.
improved oxygen transport in your blood. So it aids in performance and in recovery over long periods of exercise, like a long tennis match.
Yeah.
So that's why it's been added to that list, and so she's going to be facing some.
That sounds
some
like a good drug.
consequences.
Well, it sounds like a useful drug for an athlete.
Yes,
You know?
she attributed it to. I think this is details that I'm going just from what I remember, but I think she has a family history of blood diseases like diabetes. So she was treating or trying to prevent some of those symptoms from showing up.
Yeah.
That was what she said. So there will be a lot of. I'm sure there'll be a lot of breakdown and digestion of that one.
I'm sure. Yeah, it's we kind of come old hat basically. Like it happens to so many athletes, and it's not surprising by any stretch of the imagination anymore when it happens to anybody. But also, I don't think it really matters at this point. There's always going to be something that's going to be illegal that some athlete somewhere is going to use and do. So how much we get involved with it and how much people talk about it is kind of depends on the news cycle a little bit, actually. So we're in a slow news cycle with sports and stuff, and So Maria Sharapova's drug test failure kind of comes at a not a great time for her because it's going to be dissected a little bit more than if it came out, in the middle of the NFL playoffs or something like that. But,
Yes.
They get swept under the rug. But also, I think we talked about it a little bit last week on our podcast. I think athletes should be able to, do whatever they want, do crazy stuff to their body if that's what they want to do to be great. Because then you can get the real freak show out there instead of just. Everyone's taking something already. I mean, just because it's on a list of things that you can take,
Yes.
doesn't mean it's not a performance enhancing drug.
So, Bob, you subscribe to the WWF school
pre 94 5. Yeah.
Just
we call it the blind eye method. You
the
just turn
blind
the
eye
blind
method.
eye.
Also endorsed by Bud Selig, the blind eye method.
Exactly. Yes.
But it's a little bit
it's
more
been
obvious
tried
in
and
the
true
WWF.
for years.
Yeah.
People always talk about how the great old NFL and everything like that, and that's exactly why these guys were allowed to do a lot of things. So.
Yes, I think we were talking about LSD and amphetamines and all the good fun that baseball players had back in the 70s. The good old days, I think we called them.
The good old days, that's what they call them. So.
Hey, also one more bit of news that was breaking just a few minutes ago as of recording time here. Not about P Money, but about Mr. Megatron, who might be M Money or just Money. Says he's going to be hanging up the rocket boots and calling it a career. So on Twitter, at AZ_BirdGang, that's a great one, says, Lions waste another career, a la Barry Sanders. That's about a lot of the response I've seen. In addition to the racism, blatant racism that comes out in the first 10 minutes of a news story, and then also the porn bots that also come out when a hashtag starts trending. So it's mostly those right now. But once it gets to kind of digested by the community a little bit, we'll see
get
some
a little
real
more heartfelt
thoughts.
comments.
Yeah, well, not just racism and porn bots. So I mean, I'd happily read the porn bots. I wouldn't want to read racist propaganda, but some of the porn posts are pretty funny. But maybe for a nod,
they're amateur webcam models, Corey. They're amateur webcam models.
Some of them are. One
It's
of them
different.
was. Yes, one of them was
It's
that I saw. Yes, that's true. I was like, whoa,
if only you
okay.
could get a racist amateur webcam model, then you can really just take care of everything.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a lot of racist porn out there. I guess I assume that there is, but maybe it's they don't put it on the hashtag trends.
Maybe they're just not organized. It's out there. It's just you don't find it.
Yeah. So I guess more on all of those stories, including maybe finding No, we won't take
racist porn away from Megatron's retirement. So
we're gonna leave that
we'll try to focus
where
on
it is, and we're not gonna incorporate that into what we do here. But more on those news stories, I guess, in as those stories develop out.
Absolutely. Well, and we have some fun things coming up later this week, and one of those fun things, I was actually thinking about this. A lot of people's favorite time of the year is right when football's getting into the full swing and baseball's kind of in the playoff mode, like October. You get that late fall, early winter time where people like that sports time. But I was thinking, actually, this month, this week and until about mid-April is probably one of my favorite times, if not my favorite sports time of the year, because we got the NFL draft coming up. We have March Madness coming, and we also have wonderful spring training baseball going on. So there are a lot of fun things going on, and then the weather's starting to change too. We're finally got up to 60 degrees here in Iowa, and it feels like summertime. It feels like spring and summer. So I like this time. So I thought it'd be fun to kind of go through and pick who we thought was going to win the playoff conference championships of everyone's conference here. So we'll go through the ACC. Corey, who do you have winning the ACC playoff conference?
Is North Carolina still in the ACC?
North Carolina is still in the ACC.
All right, then I'm going with North Carolina.
You going with North Carolina? All
Yep.
right, I'm going to go Virginia on this one.
I didn't know
DC.
if North Carolina was in the Big Ten yet, but unless
That's
they
all right.
may have made that change this week, and I hadn't heard it. But I'm going to go with North Carolina.
Well, then we'll go right to the Big Ten here. So we can. Who do you got in the Big Ten then?
In the Big Ten, I am going to go. I don't know if they're going to be favored all over, but they have done some good things for me in the postseason. I'm going to go with Michigan State for the Big Ten tournament. Yeah, might not be very popular, but that's what I'm going to go with.
I'm a Hoosier believer this year. I usually
Okay.
loathe Indiana just because I don't know why, but
Yeah.
um, I don't know, just something about them makes you want to punch them in the face. But this year they're super fun to watch, and I believe they're a true. I think they're a title contender. I think they're a
Yep.
sneaky team in there. Not only for the Big Ten championship, but for the whole kit and caboodle.
Those
So
candy striped pants are awesome.
I know. Yep. Classic. And also, the Big Ten championship is in Indianapolis, so that is a little bit of a home field advantage there for them.
Yep.
So home
That's
court
right.
advantage.
Ron
So
Artest
then
might show up just to wish them good luck.
maybe Peyton might even be there. Who knows?
Maybe.
Maybe. All
Very,
right, and then let's go on to the Big East here. So the Big East, number one Villanova, number two seed Xavier. Some fun choices here. Seton Hall beat Xavier a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm good.
you got the ghost of Dwayne Wade, Marquette. In
I
Big
know,
East
I
as
know.
well.
You know what? I'm gonna go deep. I'm gonna go deep.
You're gonna deep?
Ready?
All right.
I happen to know that Boston College this year is the first team to go winless in conference in both football and basketball. So I'm gonna say Boston College gonna take that tournament.
That's going to be tough because they're not playing in the tournament. Because they did not win. They don't get to play in the conference tournament.
I'm
So
still gonna make that pick. No.
Hey, but
No.
you got to go down with the ship. Got to go
I'll
down
go.
with the ship.
I'll go with Villanova then. If
Villanova?
they don't let Boston College play, then I'll go with Villanova.
Well, you got to win some conference games in order to get in.
At least one.
You got to, yeah. Talk to Rutgers in Minnesota about the Big Ten. So,
Yeah.
all right, I'm gonna go Villanova as well. So I
Okay.
think, I was high on Xavier for a little bit, but then that loss to Seton Hall, and they came out kind of rusty last week too. It's a shaky team, so I want to see how they do in the playoffs. See how they respond to these rapid fire games. I think you get a good sense of what a team will do in March Madness with these conference playoffs here. So,
Right, you are.
all right, and then let's go on to the Big 12, probably the best conference in the nation here. So,
Yep. Without much thought, I'm just gonna go Kansas. Without much
It's-
thinking about it.
it's hard, man. They're playing really, really well.
It's hard to go any other direction.
It is, and feel confident about it.
Yeah, right.
sure.
No, I could go with Iowa State. I could see that happening.
Yeah, but
But
I think
it's
the
hard
way
to-
they just played each other, it was Iowa State gave them everything they had, and
See, I know,
Kansas
that's
came
my-
back and punched them right back. It was a great basketball game for Kansas,
Yeah.
and
yeah.
I think this year more so than any year, since there's not a clear number one, and there hasn't been for all season long, it makes rooting for a team like Kansas or even like UNC, like the staple teams that are always there.
Yep.
Or Duke even, it makes rooting for them a little easier because it hasn't been like a clear path the entire season or destined to happen the entire season.
Yep.
They have to kind of fight for it and protect their number one or their high ranking a little bit more. So anyway, we'll both go Kansas on that one. And then the last one, Conference of Champions, Pac-12.
Conference of Champions.
Who we got?
Pac-12.
You got Oregon, you got Utah, you got Arizona, Cal, USC, UCLA.
Yeah.
Colorado's
yeah.
playing good basketball.
Which is good to hear. Good. That's good
It
to
is.
hear.
It's finally.
yeah.
Good they're doing something.
I'm going to go with Zona. I'm
You're
gonna go
going
with
Zona.
Zona. Arizona.
The Wildcats.
I know Utah would be another tempting pick, but I'm going to
Mhm.
go with Zona. I think the ghost of Sandra Bullock's sweatshirt is talking to me again. So
Still talking to you?
well,
Johnny
just-
Utah is still talking to me, so I'm going to go Utah as well.
There you go.
So. He's still an FBI agent, so.
All right, there we go.
All right.
Conference
So we
of
got our
Champions.
picks. We'll see. I think we can give each other a redo if any of these teams lose before our Friday podcast, but we'll lock those in right now and see how that stuff goes. And I thought a fun way to end this podcast, Corey, there's a few teams that have already made it into the big dance by winning their respected conference playoffs. So I'm going to give you these team names, and
Okay.
you have to match up the school and the team name. So I'm going to read off all the team names first so you can have those to look at.
Okay,
And then
I'm
I'll
going
go
to write
through.
them down. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to read them once I write them down, but I'm going to try.
That's why I want to read them out to you, so you have to write them down, and maybe you're your own worst enemy. So,
Yeah.
all right. So the first one is Seahawks.
Okay. That's spelled
Bulldogs.
with a C.
Yes, you can spell it however you want.
That's with a W. Bulldogs. Okay.
Bulldogs. Eagles.
Okay.
Bulldogs.
Ooh.
Gales.
Is that with an E or with an I?
E.
It's with an E. Okay. I thought so.
Panthers. And the
Okay.
Governors.
And governors. All right.
The Governors.
Governors. All right. That's with an A. And A-H. Governors.
That's the Governor.
All right. I got him, Bob. So.
All right. You
all
ready?
right. Yeah.
Okay. So, Florida Gulf Coast. What?
Florida Gulf Coast.
What is Florida Gulf Coast?
I'm gonna say that's the Panthers. Florida Gulf Coast Panthers.
Are you going with the Panthers on that one? Okay.
Okay.
And now we don't have the bandwidth to have Corey look these up, so he's
Nope.
just going by.
I absolutely right, Bob. I have no idea on many of these, I'm sure.
All right. NC Asheville, North Carolina, Asheville. Beautiful, beautiful city.
Okay, I'm gonna say the North Carolina Asheville is the Governors,
The Governors.
but I don't know if there's anything in Virginia yet. But I'm gonna go with North Carolina Asheville.
Okay. UNC Wilmington.
UNC Wilmington.
Yes. I've never been to Wilmington, but
yeah.
I hear it's lovely.
Let's go with one of the Bulldogs.
One of the Bulldogs. And then, now we have Yale. Yale. Ivy League school.
Jesus, Yale.
Probably heard of it.
Are they the other Bulldogs? God, I don't know.
I don't know. You tell me.
Are they the Eagles? That sounds kind of classy. I think I'm going to go with the Yale Eagles isn't right either. I think it's the Yale Bulldogs. I'm going to say Yale Bulldogs.
Yale Bulldogs. Okay.
I'm going to really show my lack of basketball knowledge here.
Well, Ivy League, you think, I don't normally go with Bulldogs for Ivy League, but you get to do whatever you want. So,
yeah.
Iona is the next team. Iona. Not to be confused with Iowa when you're looking at the...
I'm actually going to make an informed guess on this one. I'm going to say that it's the Iona Gaels because Iona is a city in Scotland, and the Gaels are the tribe of people that came over, and so I have a little...
That's an informed guess. That's a deep 3 there, Corey.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. That's the one I feel most confident about yet.
Okay. Well, there you go.
All right.
Well, let's see how confident you feel about this one. UNI, University of Northern Iowa.
Oh, God. Well, I've already used the Panthers on Florida Gulf Coast. That's one I know. So I'm going to say...
That was supposed to be the layup for everybody out there.
University of Northern Iowa Seahawks, Bob.
What do you want? You want to change? It's okay to change if you want to.
Sure. Let's just switch the Gulf Coast to the Seahawks.
Okay.
Because they're much nearer the sea than Cedar Falls, Iowa.
Oh, man. You would imagine... Can you imagine all the Seahawks that we have here? Just tons.
Yeah, we call them seagulls.
We have about
Cedar
the same
Falls.
number of Panthers as well. So
yeah, well, that's true. All right, and who? I think we just have the Eagles left.
And yes, so you switch. It's the Florida Gulf Coast Seahawks. Okay, and then Austin P.
Yeah, Eagles sounds great. Austin P.
Okay. Well, sir. All right. So Florida Gulf Coast Seahawks is incorrect. It is the Eagles.
They are the Eagles. All right.
So Florida Gulf Coast Eagles.
Okay.
All right. NC Asheville. You went with the Governors. They were one of the 2 Bulldogs.
Oh,
so
all right.
Starting off 0 for 2, but I think you can pick it back up here. So UNC Wilmington, and you went with the Bulldogs.
Yes.
And they're actually the Seahawks. So
they are the Seahawks. All right.
Yep. UNC Wilmington must be by the coast. At least a lot of Seahawks going on there. So
for all over for me. Okay.
For all over. Yep. But hey, the skies are parting. The sun's coming out. Yale Bulldogs.
Yeah,
Correct.
I'm imagining
a
Bulldog wearing a sweater and a scarf. That's why I think. Like I know Bulldog normally is kind of an intimidating thing, but like I just scarf wearing dogs. I can imagine that.
There you go.
So, yeah.
You'll never forget it now. You'll always be able to see.
No, I know.
An Ivy League Bulldog. All right. The Iona Gaels. You were correct.
Yeah.
On that. Deductive reasoning. Good job. That was very good.
Thank you.
And UNI Panthers. is correct with the last minute change there. Good job. So now you've gotten back up to 500 here. So
All right, but I'm not going to get
comes,
Austin P.
Nope, Austin P is the Governors and not the Eagles. But hey, three for 4 or 3 and 4. That's not too bad. So
yeah,
good
that's
job,
better
Corey.
than I thought I was going to do, even with the UNI softball in there.
Yeah. So nicely done. I'm sure these teams will make some noise in March Madness, and we'll see how the playoff conference championships go. And Corey and I will be back here on Friday with some more Sticky Bleachers sports podcast topics, what have you. So thank you guys very much for listening. Feel free to comment and check us out on Twitter. We are on Facebook. We are on SoundCloud. Where else are we at, Corey? Stitcher,
YouTube,
iTunes,
new stuff, new videos every week on YouTube. Find us there.
Absolutely.
We need to get that 100 subscribers so we can get that custom URL so we can actually tell you youtube.com/whatever we get to. But
don't make us start a Kickstarter campaign.
No, I don't want to do that. We don't need money as of yet. I don't know. We'll see. But
no, we'll just start it for the YouTube followers.
Yeah, just for them. Okay, yeah, sure.
Just for that. Yeah, you don't have to ask.
I'm sure if I go to that tweet with all of the porn and spam comments, I can find someone selling Twitter followers. If I just give them my credit card number, we'll do that.
Absolutely.
So let's get that going.
It's well worth it, and it's advised for everybody to do that. So.
Yep. So we'll see you then on Friday. Until then, I am Corey signing off.
I'm Bob. We'll see you guys later this week.
Play ball!
Sticky.